Yeah. It's so interesting. There's a lovely saying by Pema Chodron saying, if you want to control somebody or something or your experience, um, we often think of this as being meditation, or we think of it even worse, we think of it as being love. I want you to be happy. I want you to lose some weight and be happy. I want you to stop eating all my cakes and lose some weight and be happy. I want you to stop knocking on my door and eating all my cakes and lose some weight and be happy. You know, it's nothing to do with them being happy. It's about them not annoying you anymore by their problems. And we just do the same thing with our own experiences. Like, I want to be happy. Dalai Lama says we all want to be happy, but we kind of go about it in this really weird, perverted way of like, I want to be happy, so I'm going to beat myself up with a brick until I'm happy. And one of the crassest examples of that is, I'm not going to accept the way I am. I'm not going to, this experience is the wrong experience. It's not me. It shouldn't be there. I'm going to be beating myself up until it's gone. And we can do this our whole life. And in some sense, that is what the Buddhists call samsara, constantly trying, desperately trying to get all our ducks in a row. If only I could be this, and if only I could have that, and if I didn't feel this, and I wasn't anxious, and I didn't have this injury, and I wasn't on this medication, and if the floor was, if the ceiling wasn't dripping, and if there wasn't all this traffic, and if I didn't have this pain. It's exhausting, exhausting. And there's no stillness, there's no peace, there's no release in that. But the minute we go, okay, this is what I've got, and we start to turn towards it, and we start to give it some space and just be curious about it and interested in it, and then have these other options so we can go to the breath, or we can go to the sounds, or we can go to the floor, and then come back and you're like, oh, it's slightly changed, it's got a different tint to it, or thoughts are slightly less jagged, or the emotion is slightly less intense. Then we can work with what we are, and this is the beginning of love or respect. And until we do that, it's just exhausting. And it's very difficult to enjoy life because we're so preoccupied with ourselves and getting ourselves perfect. And when we kind of experiment with this spacious quality that happens by just having these other objects. So yeah, we've got this feeling, we've got this jumpy mind, we've got this anxiety. But then there's also the sound of the traffic, there's also the sound of the drip, drip, drip. There's also the feeling of my fingers stroking my thighs. There's also the breath coming in, breath going out. It's not that that first object is being erased in any way. It's just being contextualized in a more spacious, more option-rich context. And pretty quickly this brings a great sense of groundedness, because we're not on this tightrope of, Francesca was saying, when we first started practicing, that you should get into this state of happiness or like well-being, and then open your eyes and bam, it's gone. I've fallen off the tightrope walk. And there's this sort of precariousness to our situation. But when we start with where we're at, then there's no chance. There's nothing to fall off. You're not on any high wire. You discover that the high wire is actually on the floor. So it takes all the kind of effort out. Because you don't have to strive to be something different to enjoy your life. You just start where you are. It's got a lovely, lovely feel to it.